Good afternoon, good morning, welcome to wherever you are watching from. Well, all over the globe. I hope you had a lovely New Year and a lovely Christmas if you didn't see Wake Up Call earlier on. But this is our first live show of not only the week, but of course the year 2023. And we've started off with a busy one. I know many of you have been eagerly awaiting us to come back live on Crafters TV. Well, the wait is over. We are here. Now, I did allude to it a moment ago. We had a lovely, fun, but busy Wake Up Call. This is going to be equally fun because this is a craft along. Now, if you are new to us, maybe you are new to crafting and you've thought, do you know something? I want to get into some crafting, some paper crafting. Maybe you've been following Sarah's journey throughout last year when you've seen her. Maybe you've seen her first time round on Dragon's Den. Maybe you've seen her first time round on Strictly. You've followed her journey in with the tour with her and Ben, and you've thought, do you know what? I want to start a little bit of crafting. That's what we're here for. So craft alongs, just very briefly, this is about a set product. Now what we tend to do, round about 4 weeks after a product is launched, we will come here with a craft along. And that is exactly as it says on the title. You can craft along with many of us that are here at Crafters Companion, and we can then just, craft along. Nice and step-by-step methodical, and then we're not rushing. Any questions you need answered or asked, you can just fire them across. Now, if you've not got the product, we do give you the option to get your hands on it, and then afterwards, like all of our shows, they stay on our YouTube channel for you to craft along or watch time and time again. But today, it is all about our really popular pop-out vase die collection here. Now, within these ones here, they enable you to create that pop-out feature, but what they were enabling you to do as well is using them in many different ways, inside the cards, outside the cards, individually. That pop-out feature, they were launched on the 2nd of December, and ever since then, whenever we featured them, they've been really popular. So we'll go over the details just shortly for you. However, as it's myself on this side, it does mean that we've got someone else across on the other side who is going to be doing the craft along, and if you didn't see Wake Up Call, you will not know. It is, of course, we ended the year, we're starting the year together. It's myself and Corrine.
Good afternoon. So yes, we're going to do a craft along. So as soon as I saw what I'd got the task, so how it works here is we get our schedule and it tells us what shows we've got. As soon as I saw craft along and I saw pop-out bars, I knew straight away, in my head, I knew straight away what I wanted to create for this craft along. It does that sometimes, doesn't it? Do you find that? Sometimes you're like, oh, craft, what am I going to do, what am I going to do? But for me, this one, as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's what I want to do. So we're going to make this exploding box. So it's going to be an exploding box like that. You see like that. And inside is another exploding box. And when you take off that one, then you get this beautiful vase as well. Now you can then be decorating all of these edges. We're not going to have time to do that in our 2 hours, but look at this. This is all about getting that vase nice and full of all of your flowers. Now this one's not going to fold flat because we don't need it to, so I've put a support in there to hold it steady. We're going to talk about the mechanism that goes in the middle, how to get the strength out of that, everything else you need to know, but this is what you're going to make this gorgeous exploding box.
Really beautiful.
In there. So I'm going to put that to one side and I'm going to tell you what you need.
Please do.
So I'm going to bring that up on the screen and then you can have a look.
Absolutely.
So, now, obviously, pop-up vase dies, you're going to have your pretty vase and your delightful bouquet. One's the vase, one's the flower. Now, I absolutely love these papers. Your Spring Sorbet, which is your 12 by 12 pearlescent card pack, and your Beginning of Spring, your 12 by 12 paper pack. If you've not got those, just substitute for something else. I'm also using the 12 by 12 pastels textured cardstock because those work so well. Loads of multi-purpose card is going to get used. We're going to have a little bit of ribbon, some gems and some tacky glue. You'll also need, there we go. I'm going to use the Fuchsia Honeypot, Parakeet and Pink Tulip in my water reactive ink pads. I'm only going to use one tri-blend brush, and that's my lavender blend, my black art liner, a guillotine, my die cutting machine, which we're going to use our Gemini, the Scoremaster scoreboard and tape pens, because I understand the tape pens are being a little bit busy today, so you might want to be quick on those. Now, is that everything? Have I just got, yep, sometimes I can run onto 3 screens.
Sometimes we do, don't we?
I can never remember, so we just need to do that. So whilst you gather your things together, quick back to Craig, but then we'll come back and we'll start making.
We absolutely will do. So within this show, we've got Rachel once again, who's given us a helping hand. So Rachel, she was in Wake Up Call earlier on. She also had a lovely Christmas and New Year. I know you were asking earlier on. We've got Lumen. So we've got Jeannie saying good morning from Manchester, UK. Clarice is saying Happy New Year all from South Carolina. We've got Janet saying Happy New Year from Michigan. We've got Joe Dedman is saying Happy New Year from Somerset, UK. And Carletta is saying hello everyone. Samantha's saying, yay, they're back and all is right with the world. We've got Sarah Brown is saying, hello, my crafty friends. I'm so happy to be back here with you all, sending hugs your way from Melbourne, Australia. Well, we're sending the hugs right back to you. Julia Duffy is saying, good evening and Happy New Year from Perth, Western Australia. So excited to have the lives back. I have enjoyed watching your catch-ups. That's something I've noticed as well. While we had a little bit of a break, we were doing the best of shows across on our YouTube. A lot of you were loving actually just going back to certain shows to refer back to. Some of you did go back and do craft-alongs that you'd missed. Some of you went back to masterclasses that Corin's done, or Debbie Robinson's done, or Debbie Fisher, or any of us have done in the past. So it's given you, it's kind of like, I know many of you were sad that we had that little bit of a break, but I noticed a couple of comments were saying it was lovely. Not that it forced you to go back, but you just thought, well, they're not live, so what am I going to do? Right, I'm going to take the opportunity to go back and have a look at the past masterclasses, craft-alongs and that. And that's what you can do when we're not live. We've also got Alicia saying, no, don't be nervous, Alicia, saying, I'm so nervous, this is my first craft-along where I can participate.
Excellent.
Brilliant one. Brilliant one. Julie saying, oh my God, this exploding box is amazing. Louise Cole is saying, really looking forward to this one. Right, Alicia, anyone else that's new to the craft along or new to doing them live, we just slow it all the way down. If you've got any questions, if you need Corinne to recap with anything whatsoever, just get in the comments, just let Rachel know, and then we'll just take a pause. Every now and again, we'll take a pause wherever Corinne just finds it's that nice, natural place to pause for a second, let anyone catch up, but we do it at a nice, lovely level. But we did talk about, of course, it is about the exploding vase. So this one here, if you've not already got your hands on it, is the full set. So you can get your hands on the full set today, so you can at a later date come back and craft along. But these, as well as a few other things, we'll show you through the craft along. Oh, we've got an incoming call there. Oh, excuse me, we're a bit busy at the moment. We're busy. You can probably hear that. I'm just going to keep going. We have then got our pretty vase. We have then got our 8 dies. So we've got our 8 dies. This is your worker. This is your mechanism. This is giving you that feature to do the pop out if you want. If you just want to use these little panels as standalone, you can absolutely do that. However, these are creating that pop-out vase. You've got the bow, you've got the sentiment, and you've got this little strip here that is really quite key when it comes to creating that pop-out vase. That is giving you your 8 dies within that set there. And then what you've also got is Delightful Bouquet. Now remember, you're getting them all, but they are 2 separate packs. Delightful Bouquet, you've got your 12 dies in total. So you've got your florals. Now, you're going to have your lilies, your daisies, it could be sunflowers, it could be a variety of different flowers, or of course you can create your own flower if you want to. You've got the foliage, you've got the leaves, you've got the stamens as well. You've got all of these 12 dies in total to create an array of exploding flowers within that vase. All of that you're going to be getting, these 2 here, $27.98 or $31.90. You are, of course, if you didn't already know, going to get 100 extra bonus points as well. Everything that we've showed you from that pop-out vase selection, as well as other bits and pieces that, of course, Corinne's going to be using just shortly, is across on our website. So anything you see Corinne using, have a look on the website. It's not a craft, it's not a show that we go full in with product after product after product. It's about having that enjoyment of slowing it down. But as I said, with the actual pop-out vase collection, even at a platinum price, $22.38 or $25.52, all of these other things, including adhesives, take a pen like Corrine was saying, all across on the website. Yes, check out Shop the Day. Everything from Wake Up Call, Craft Along, Monday Makers will be there, but have a little bit of peruse as well. The only thing I will say, probably maybe 1 or 2 times within this show, please make sure you do check out the website for our winter sale. It ends today, up to 70% off. We'll go over a lot more detail come Monday Makers, but we will just want to give you a little heads up within the Craft Along. Right, at this point, this is where I tend to go silent while Corrine is going over the step-by-steps. Any questions, any queries, anything whatsoever, let Rachel know and we'll fire them across to Corrine as the show goes on. Right, Corrine, where we're going to start?
So it'd be lovely to have your comments as we craft along. Now, as I said, I'm going to be using the spring and the gorgeous pearlescent cards. If you don't have these, then anything is going to work. And you could even do it if your cardstock's A4, you can make it work. So the first thing we need to do, we're going to start with the outer box and we're going to do the inner box, and then we'll focus on the vase at the very end. So using my 12 by 12, I'm going to cut this to 7.5 inches. We're going to do it this way to get the least weight. So I'm going to cut to 7.5 inches all the way down, and I'm going to put that to one side because we could use that for other bits. And then we're going to turn it round and we're going to cut 2 panels of 5 inches wide. So you can cut one just there. And then you'll always see, I always flip it back over so my cut side goes through. So I've only got one cut side on my piece. So my second one is there. So I've got 2 pieces of 7.5 by 5. Now, if you're really good, you could always put your 2 pieces of cardstock on top of each other. I don't know about you, do you? I don't tend to do that because I find if you don't hold it just right, things move and it's not as accurate. For the time it takes.
Yeah, although I was agreeing with you, because you could do it, it's not something that I tend to do.
No.
For one, as you said, one, in case one layer slips. 2, the other reason, I always find you get the nice clean cut on that top layer, but sometimes that base layer there is just a little bit feathery. You can do it, absolutely you can do it. The paper guillotine police aren't going to come to your door if you do 2 layers at once, but yeah, we do tend to do one at a time.
Okay, so there we have 4 pieces, all exactly the same, 7.5 inches by 5 inches. So all I'm going to do next, I'm going to show you the next bit, is I'm just going to get a piece of white multi-purpose cardstock and I'm going to cut this to 5 inches, which I think that makes sense because do it lengthways, because that was the width of our shortest length.
Yes.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my base. So I want a 5-inch square, like that, and then I want another one. Because we're going to make it as tidy as we can as we go along. So there we go. Right. There we are. So let's leave that at that for a minute. Put that one to one side. So all of these pieces here, what I want to do is I want to score. It's up to you which way you want to do it. So they were 7.5 by 5, and I want them 7 by 5. So you either score at 7, just here. There you go, like that. Or you score at 1/2 inch.
Right, yeah. Either
but that is exactly what you've done here. You can see it's exactly the same. We've just scored at whichever whichever end makes most sense for you. So I'm going to do it this way so you can see 7 inches just down there and 7 inches just down there. I'm actually going to see if I've got my score tool there, because I've got one there. I like the one with the
that's the same as me, that flatter edge at the back of it.
Yeah, that blunt edge. And there isn't one on our workbench. They seem to have moved over somewhere. I just find if you need a fine score, this one seems to be better. I was just going over these because I've done it with a thick one. I'm just going over. Because
it's got a bit more of a point to it, doesn't it?
So once I've got that there, I'm going to fold those over and then I can burnish them. And you can see, because it's nice and straight, look at that, it's straight top and bottom, so you know everything is in the right place. And then we can score that one. Just easier to do all 4 of these before you go any further.
And even with the cardstock that you're using, whether it's a pearl, you still get that really lovely fine crease if you use your scoreboard, don't you?
You do. So we could take that there. Right, so I've got 4 pieces, you can see just there, and I've got my base.
Okay.
So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to glue the 4 of them in a cross shape. Can you see? Like that.
Now.
Now it's up to you what glue you're going to use. For this bit, I'm just going to use a little bit of tacky glue, but I am going to change my glue at some point. So just a little bit with tacky glue. Remember, less is more.
Definitely.
So we can put 1 on, and you can always fold it over just to make sure. See, that's not very straight, is it? So I can straighten it up there.
Being able to move
better.
it.
Straighten that up and just burnish there. Then I can get the next one. A little bit of glue all the way down. It will sort of squidge about and get exactly where you need it to.
That's the thing, yeah, you know, and sometimes you find, don't you, that, you know, even by going in a straight line to start with, when you have that pressure of pressing down, it spreads out. And
I've just pulled the first one off. Now, if you used your tape pen, then that wouldn't have happened. That was just, actually, this is not biting, though I might have to move on to my tape pen. Perhaps I'm going a bit too fast. Let's go over that one now. There we go, let's go over, there we go. We can always burnish it with our score tool. This is why it's quite good, because you can do bits in layers, can't you? And just
that's the thing with something like that, yes, you can't you?
Let it go like that. There we are, so we can put the next one on.
And it's one of those things whereas initially, if you didn't really have an idea of how something like this is created, you would think, oh my gosh, I need really great big pieces of cardstock.
Oh,
whereas,
yeah.
as you were saying there, you could do it with A4 if you wanted to.
You could. And can you imagine the size of the dies you'd need if you were to do this with dies?
Yeah, oh gosh, could you imagine?
It would get so expensive, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, we have done exploding box die sets in the past, and you can only do one size of exploding box, which, you know, they were great, but as you were saying, by following what you're doing here, you could go smaller, you could go bigger, it's entirely up to yourself.
Just making sure that glue's biting. Now I'm just going to have to open out some of that one. I can close that one off. There we are. And do the last one. Let's put that ready to go on there. Because just remember, your tacky glue just gets more tacky as we go along. So just burnish that. And again, the heat of your hand always helps that to stick. This is just taking a minute. I might in a minute swap over. There we go. You can just see, just takes that second, doesn't it, just to go. There we go. Once it's grabbed, it's fine. So there we now have all 4 sides of my exploding box, the first one.
Right,
see, just like that. Really, really easy to do. So all I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip that over.
Okay.
Remember that second one I got? And I'm going to put some glue on the back of there. Make sure I've really focused around the edges, all the way around the edges, a little bit in the middle, all the way, there we go. And then that will go over the top of there. Now, not only is that going to reinforce, but it's also hiding all your workings.
Yeah. And you're spending all this time, you know, you're sitting, you're relaxing, you're making something like this that's really spectacular. Take that extra few seconds, cut another piece, hide your workings. It's worthwhile doing.
It really is. And in theory, now you could go either way, but I'm going to keep it the way that I've planned and keep it that way. So that's how that's going. So we're going to put that to one side and we're going to do our first layer of mats and layers. So I've done this just to show you that you don't have to have lots and lots of paper. This is a really good one for using up all of your mats and layers.
Right.
So let me just, where have I gone? That one's moved. Right, so this one was how I did it. So these are the 2 papers I'm going to use on the outside. So I'm not, you know, if your paper pad's new, then you could use the same on the outside and then the same on the inside and then the same on the outside and then on the inside. It's up to you. But we're going to just mix and match them around. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to cut this. If you remember, the box height is 7 inches.
It is.
So we're going to cut this to 6 3/4. And the great thing is, look, I've got a nice straight line on my guillotine to work to. So 6 3/4. And then it was 5 inches wide, so it's 4 3/4 is your mat layer. All we do is we go down by 1/4 of an inch each time. 1 and 2.
And that's why, for me anyway, the guillotine has just been so invaluable
Yeah.
when it comes to being able to do that sort of thing.
It certainly is. I'm like that when I do it. So I'm going to do the second one, 6 3/4, just there. Always make sure you push it up nice and tight across the edges. And, you know, again, keep these pieces because that's quite a substantial bit of cardstock that you'll be able to use for other things. And then 4 3/4. That one's going to go there. And again here. Now, we all say when we're doing our gluing, we don't apply pearlescent card using our solvent-based glue because it can take the finish off. But for me, I have to then think to myself, what am I trying to achieve? What I'm trying to achieve is I'm trying to achieve a substantial size to my box that's really going to hold, you know, and it's not going to disintegrate.
No.
So I've not gone too close to the edge, and I can put that on. It means I can move it around, and I can burnish it down. And yet, if it's doing any damage to the pearlescent card, it's underneath my matten layer.
Yeah.
So as long as you're careful, right, and now I just need to, what I want to do is make sure I alternate these. That one's going there. There we go. Yeah, just make sure I alternate them. As long as you're careful, you can do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, you know, I can back you on that one, Corrine, because I use my tacky glue on areas where it's maybe not always recommended to use the tacky glue. I said it before when I was on with Jan. You know, we can come here and we can recommend the surfaces that are best for each individual glue.
Yep.
If you do what Corrine's doing, you do what I do, the adhesive police are not going to come at your door.
They're not.
And start banging that door down and shouting at you for using your all-purpose glue onto a piece of Centura Pearl or that. You know, so if you find you're going to get a good result, a good adhesion to it, then go for it. We can only recommend to you, but yeah,
But the benefits for me are that once this one's dry, that solvent-based glue is going to add strength. And for me, if I'm careful, that benefit outweighs the downside of using a solvent-based glue on pearlescent card. So you've just got to think, what are you trying to achieve? Now, the other thing you'll notice is my pattern is going that way. So I'm trying to make sure that I've got my cardstock so the pattern is facing from, this is the base, if you think about it, this is the sides. So I'm just thinking about each piece of card as I put it on to make sure that the pattern is in a direction that I like.
It's pleasing on the eye as well, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's not going to be the end of the world and probably no one else would notice. But for me, I like to make sure it's where, you know, it's going in the direction that I want it. So there's the first side. So now, again, you could leave these bits plain. You could go, you know, some completely different decorations. Or I'm just going to look at what I've put on this one. I've used some purples and, yes, there we go. I've got them all here. There, there we are. I've used those two patterns on the inside. So I'm going to do exactly the same. It's cut to the same measurement, 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. See, it does use a fair bit of cardstock. I'm not going to lie. It's not, but I think this is the sort of thing you'd give as a special gift. This is the sort of thing, you know, a special one that's going to be out and about. So, you know, I think it's worth it.
Yeah, well, it is. And, you know, once we have a little break, we'll go through the comments. But like Linda Armstead on YouTube has said, I think these would be great for Mother's Day cards / gifts. For grandnephew to give to his mum and grandmother. So, yeah, you know, you don't mind then using the quantities when it's for something special.
You don't. I did do that right. For a minute, I just suddenly thought, had I cut that right? There we go. So 6 3/4, that's right, by 4 3/4, that's right. have to think about this. Even myself doing this, I have to think about it.
Doesn't matter how many notes I write myself when it comes to me doing a craft along, I always have to second guess myself. Always do it.
I think it's very much like, won't we say, when people are working joinery and things, it's measure twice, cut once. And I still apply a very similar sort of approach when
it is.
Isn't that good? Look at those, look at those. I mean, if you wanted to, those would look, let's see what I've got here. If you wanted to, those would look, actually, I think I'm going to change it. I like those patterns. I'm going to do the reverse sides on these.
Yeah.
Oh, everyone in the gallery agrees.
All agreeing, yeah. But then just to say as well, that basis that you've just finished a moment ago, I clocked the clock a moment ago, and here in the UK, 2:24 p.m. Give or take, I was yabbiting on a little bit at the start of the show. That basis of that pop-out element, Corrine, you'd done within, say, about 15 minutes or so?
Yeah.
Cutting and construction within that about 15 minutes or so. So, you know, it's a really good project to be making at home.
It is, it is. And hopefully everyone's, you know, crafting along, or like you say, watching it along. You know, it's a bit like with Leanne's Academy of Colour. You know, if you find it easier to watch along afterwards, when you can pause and you can rewind, then please do so, because, you know, that's entirely up to you.
Although in saying that, do you know what I learned over the holidays when I dipped into a couple of our shows?
Yep.
And okay, I know they weren't live, but you know, they're going out live, so to speak. I didn't actually realise, like right this moment in time, we are actually live. You can still pause us.
Can you?
Yeah.
Oh,
and
right.
then play again. Now, of course, for however long you pause us, there's going to be that delay.
That lag.
But it just means that, again, here in the UK, instead of finishing at 4 p.m, you would then finish however long that you paused us for. So even a live craft along, you can still then just pause us.
Oh, that's handy to know.
Didn't actually realise that.
No, I didn't know that. I thought once it's live, it's live. Yeah. You have to stay live. So then we've got that one on there, and that one is on there. So there we go. So we've now got our patterns on the outside. Hopefully those will match opposite sides.
Love them together.
On there and on there. There we go. So that now can just be left to dry. So let's see if I'll just cut the lid.
Okay.
Have I got? Yes, I have got the cardstock ready. So I'm going to cut the lid for that one, and then we can leave that one. Oh, where's my? I wanted it. Outer box lid was in the green. There we go. I've got it. I've got it ready. So all I'm going to do for my outer box lid is I'm going to go at 7 1/8. So there we go. So if we look on our scoreboard, it's 7. So this the first of the longer lines. That makes sense, because they're on 16th.
That's,
so
yeah,
1/8 is 2/16, so we can come to there. And that should be approximately halfway across that square as well. So you can see that you are in roughly the right place. And then, so there we go. So it's 7 1/8 squared. So 7 1/8 just there. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to take my scoreboard, I'm going to use the box lid side, and I'm going to score. So I've got lid on this side. I'm going to score at 1 inch.
Okay.
All the way around. 1 there, and there. There we go. So if this is 7 1/8, so this is going to give us 5 1/8, if you think about it, because we've taken off.
Yeah, I see.
We've taken off 1 inch from that side and 1 inch from that side. So it's 5 1/8. But can you remember our base was 5?
That's right.
So that's just given us 1/8 of 1 inch. So this much, effectively, that much, to act as the what do you call it? The sort of wriggle room.
Yeah, it gives you that little bit of manoeuvrability, doesn't it?
So let's see, are any of these the right size? So let's see if we can use some of these pieces. So I need a 5 inch mat Oh yes, I can get one out of any of those. So I could pick one of those. Let's pick one that I've used on the outside, match it up. Let's try and match it up. Where's the ones that I've used? Is that one? That was an inside one, I think.
Sure.
So you want to match them up so it looks nicer. There we go. Oh, that one came from there. So right, I'm going to use that one. So I'm then going to cut a 5-inch square from there.
Just while you're doing that, it's just to say to Alicia, so she's well on the craft game today, saying, can you give the second exploding box measurements? I'm done with the first one. Well, I know this is your first one. Absolutely, as Con says, we'll be there just in a moment. So we'll do these step by step all together. So as you can see, Con's done the first one, then she's gone in to do the box lid because that works side by side for the first one. So we will just be moving on to that one very, very shortly. So hang fire, but we'll be getting there.
We certainly will. So this is made exactly how we make all of our box lids. So we're just cutting down on that score line, cutting off a little triangle. Now it's up to you whether you score before you cut. I don't know. It seems more often than not I cut before I score. I don't know if it's a conscious decision. But
yeah, do you know something? I do both. I don't really think about it. Sometimes I'll, score and then cut. Sometimes I'll burnish, then cut.
Yeah, it seems to vary. But I think more times than not, I will cut before I've folded and burnished. Don't know why, but just seem to do that. There we go.
It's their own, eh?
Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to then I'm just doing all the sort of fiddly bits before I put that on, just to give it least chance of moving. If I was doing this at home, what I'd probably do was come in with my mats and layers and then leave that to dry and then make it up to the box. But I know we've got plenty of time, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do that, put that on there. But look at that, look at how that colour just picks up the green from there. Isn't that absolutely beautiful?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Just give it a little bit of a burnish with the warmth of my hands. I know some people like to turn it over and just burnish from that side too. There we go. Now, do you see, one mat and layer is all it takes. Now, if these weren't pearlescent papers and they were plain, I'd probably want to do a couple of mats and layers on the lid. But I don't think it needs it. I haven't even gone in round the edges and inked because, quite frankly, I don't think it needs that.
I would agree with you, yeah.
I just think the pearlescent cardstock is sufficient. So just pop that on. Make sure that I'm trying to show you, is square onto there. And the next one on to there. Hopefully you can see. All I'm doing is just folding that over, making sure I've got a nice neat corner on the end. Just there. Nice neat corner. And that is my box lid. So once we get this, it will try and collapse in on itself because I've got nothing inside it, but you'll see that then, if I can just pull those ones out, there we go. I know it's trying to collapse in on itself, but there you go. You can see, absolutely perfect for the first box.
Really
so we can now put that one to one side to be properly drying off.
Perfect.
So is that a quick pause and then we'll do the second box after that? Yep.
Yeah, we will do that. Yeah, because we've got a few ink pads and then we'll have a look at the comments to show you. Because where Corrine was saying that you could go around the edges if you want to and do some inking when it comes to your projects, your cards, we have got a 9-pack here of our pigment ink pads. So our pigment ink pads, still from the Harmony range, we do quick dry, we also do water reactive, and then we've also got our pigment as well. So you can start to layer up the colour, build up that intensity of colour, tone on tone, mixing and matching, but these stay wet longer. So that means if you love to do your embossing with your heat embossing, these are a really, really good one for you to then be doing your heat embossing with. So key colours here that were actually put together to work within that floral design of the pop-out vases. So what we have got is 9 of them here. We've got Parakeet. Now this is an absolute favourite from so many of us on the team. Now the actual saving today within this 9-pack is 35%. You've got Ocean Blue as well. You've then got another favourite from the team is our Lemon Tonic. We've got Spring Meadow. Now, we are well and truly out of view of Christmas now. We're looking at that spring. We're looking forwards to summer. These are giving you the spring and summer colours. We've got our orange. If you love your stenciling, these are going to be great for your stenciling. We've got our Chinese red. And we may be in a new year, but some things have never changed. We've got our fuchsia. We've also, okay, we'll go back to the fuchsia then. There you go, there you go. We've also got our Friar brown. We've then also got our pink tulip. So that is your 9 pigment ink pads. So yes, you can blend with them. You can start to layer up the colour when it comes to the intensity, whether you want to use them for, of course, doing your heat embossing, you absolutely can do. Go back onto YouTube, you're going to see how these have been used in many, many different ways. Pigment ink pads, Debbie Fisher's absolute favourite ink pads. All 9 of these for £35 or $53. When I said that that's saving of 35%, you can see it on your screen. You're saving $18.91 or $27.55. But of course, we don't want you to pay that. Of course, if you are platinum, it does come down even more to £28 or $42.40. All of these across on our website on Shop the Day. Always the best place for you to go. You'll see other things as well that Corrine has been using and will be using. We've then got, I think it's Ulrike. We're used to names being Ulrika, so I know it's not that because there's no A at the end, so I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. From Austria, saying, I love the Craft Along, Crafter's Companion so much. Well, we love you taking part. We've got Betty on YouTube saying, Happy New Year from New Jersey. Love watching you guys together. Corrine is so clever, isn't she just? She really, really is. Gilmore on YouTube saying that ringtone freaked me out. I thought it was CCTV team calling me, thinking I'd signed up for this craft along. That's the Skype ringtone. Yeah, I think a few of you have thought that as well. It got Jeannie as well. Linda is on YouTube saying, I ordered the pop-out vase collection. I am recording the show so I can make it when my order is delivered. We've got, so I'd read out Linda's about saying really good for Mother's Day. We've got Lillian on Facebook saying, all I can say is the adhesive police have a bit of a relaxed attitude regarding their jobs. Yeah, we don't want the police at our door when it comes to our adhesives. Louise Cole on YouTube saying, so worth going that extra mile with this gorgeous paper. It will be a stunning gift for the recipient. It will be indeed. We've got Rosalind on Facebook saying, Craig, when will we see you on the other side of the table? Well, within Crafter's Companion at the moment, unfortunately, the sickness bug, the cold, the flu, it's running its round within Crafter's Companion. Unfortunately, quite a few of the team are being a little bit under the weather over New Year. Poor Charlotte is still really quite unwell. She's meant to be in today. The team are helping out. She is, she probably won't mind me saying this, about day 6, she's still in her bed, not well. Ben's not well either, so tomorrow I should be on that side for launch party. However, if Ben's not going to manage tomorrow, then I'll be back on this side. Do you know what, at the moment, it's just, we've got plan A, we've got plan B, and we've got plan C. All that I would say from us demonstrating side and presenting side might be a little bit of a mix over the next week or two, depending how the cold, the bug, the flu, everything like that is going round. So, to answer your question, Rosalind, as it stands at the moment, I should be on that side tomorrow for launch party. It'll be between Sarah and myself. We'll just need to wait and see. But I do have shows coming up. Thank you very much for asking. Rightio, that's enough from me for now. I think we're all ready to go. No questions, Corrine, about the craft along, which is good to know.
Okay, so a little bit repetitive, because what we're going to do now is we're going to make the inner box, exploding box. So I'm going to use this lovely pink. I think this is a really gorgeous pink. It's not too bubblegum sickly pink, is it? It's really pretty. It's such a gorgeous colour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this, and again I want 4 pieces, but I want them 7 1/4 by 4 1/2. So you always cut the 7 1/4 first. Cut your longest length first. There you go, because I know I can't get 2 7 1/4s out of there, but I can get 2 4 1/2s. So cut your 7 1/4 first, turn it round, and then cut 4 1/2. There we go, 4 1/2 just there. And again on the other side, 4 1/2 just there, and just, yep. And then we're going to do the same with the other one.
Okay.
So 7 1/4. I've got all the measurements written down, and I am, every time I'm cutting, I'm just reading, making sure I've got them right. 7 1/4 to there, and then 4 1/2 round on this side. So again, we're going to do exactly the same. We're going to score it to create a little flap. I'll tell you what I will do while I've got this guillotine out. I'm going to cut myself a piece of 1 1/2 inch white. Now we only need one piece for this. We don't need one underneath, because if you think about this, this is going to sit on top of the box we've already got.
So it is, yes.
So all our underneath workings are going to be hidden. So one piece at 4 1/2 square is perfect. And if we've got it right, look, that'll be the same. Look at that.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Yes,
Perfect.
spot on.
Perfect match to there. Okay. So if we take that out of the way, bring my scoreboard back in. Now, if we're not doing, I know this is like the box base, but what we want is we want accurate scoring.
Yeah.
So, because we're doing box base, you normally go, well, you do it over to the right.
Yes.
But this isn't about a box.
No.
I know it's the box base, but we're not using the scoreboard as that.
What we're doing.
The left-hand side measurements are perfect. They're accurate, because the gap here, from there to there is 1 inch. They're accurate,
isn't it?
On the box base, the gap from the edge to the first 1 inch is, you can just see, it's about
Ever so slight, isn't it?
an 1/8 of an inch bigger.
Something like that, yeah.
So we never, if we're doing accurate market measuring, we never go from the right.
No.
We always go from the left. Just so that people, because they might say, well, why are you not doing it from the base side? Because I want it accurate.
Well, that's it, you know, and it makes, some may think that when you're mentioning base, but you're doing it on the lid side, so it's a really good way to point out, or a good thing to point out.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to 6 3/4, which is again exactly 1/2 an inch, because this was 7 1/4. We've gone back to 6 3/4. So if you find it easier just to score at 1/2 an inch on that side, then go for it. It's entirely up to you. But always make sure that you're flush. You've pushed it. You've really pushed it hard against that edge, so that you know it's square. Because that's the most important thing, is that you've got it square. So we can do that.
I suppose this is kind of like the construction way of baking a cake. In order for it to all come together and for a cake to taste perfect and beautiful, you want the ingredients to be correct. And for the box to fit perfectly, you want the measurements to be correct,
Exactly.
don't you?
So there we go. We can take that one, and then we can fold these over on these score lines. As long as I've done them nice, there we go. Trying to get a good score line, but without, no, go that way, it's easier that way. There we go, without it cracking the card. And that's the last thing I want to do. So we can go through, this is the third one. It's such a pretty colour, this card, but again, it just works so well with that, get the name right, the beginning of spring paper pad. There we go. So we've got all 4, and we've got our matte layer. So let's have a go this time. Let's do it with the tape pen, just to show you. So I'm just going to run that down, all the way down there. Then I'm going to bring this one in, pop it into that, what do you call it, fold, and then put that one down. There you go. You can see, or if you need to, you can always just burnish it down there. Actually, it was a lot easier. I don't know why I didn't do that the first time. That one's going to go down there. And then, again, doing exactly the same, just pushing it into there. And if you want to fold it over, you can, just to make sure it's nice and square. Actually, that's not quite right. There we go. And then, third one. I think the good thing about this is it's nice and repetitive. So by the time you get to the end, you've got, you know, you've just...
And that's what I was just about to say as well.
Yeah.
Just before you said it, I was going to say the same as well, because you've got that repetitiveness to it.
Yeah.
That once you've started, it just flows, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? And that one. Now, I wouldn't be doing my mats and layers before I got here, because I'm using different papers. So to me, it's easier to do it mats and layers on. Now, if you wanted to, at this point, you could pop it onto there, but I'm not going to do that just yet. I'm going to do my mats and layers just separately. So there you go.
Okay.
All my measurements on here. So I need mats for the outside and mats for the inside as well.
Yeah.
So I've got myself a couple of different papers. Now we're really going to sort of mix and match them around. Those are going on the outside. And look at those. Those are going on the inside. Aren't they beautiful? So I'll just separate them out.
I think that was one of our most popular paper pad in 2022.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
I'm sure it was.
Our mats and layers need to be 6.5 by 4 1/4. So I'm going to cut that and work out where I want it to be. I like that side. So I'm going to go cut this one to 6.5. Because remember, I can't get two 6.5s out of there, but I can get two 4 1/4, yes. So there. Now, keep these, because these will come into play in a few minutes, some of these. So I want that one, 4 1/4. There we go, one. And then another one, 4 1/4. There we are. One of those, and then the other. I always look at my paper and think to myself, what's going to look as a nice mat layer? You know, when you're thinking about it. Yeah. Always try and work out what's go that way. Yes, I think that way. So what did I say? 6.5. There we go. Because I'm looking at this and I'm thinking those are going to flow nicely up, aren't they? By 4 1/4. There we are. And the other one. Right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put those carefully there and just do the cutting so that we've got it. I don't want them on there, I want them over there. Like that. I'm just going to cut my inner ones and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So they're going to be 6.5 by 4 1/4. So I'm just going to cut them all in one go.
Okay.
So 6.5 by, look at this paper. So pretty. Every time you do this, it just makes me just blown away.
I want to use it
I have to admit, it's been nearly a year now that I've been here, but I cannot, really? I know, but I cannot, I still am in awe of the paper pads since I've been here. I really, let's go that way. So, you know, I really have been blown away. This paper pads are absolutely second to none. They've just been so pretty.
I think it must be about a year that Faith has kind of taken control of our paper pads.
They've always been Faye's paper pads when I've been here. I've not known anything different. So, right now, so we've got those. So these are my inner ones, and those are my two inner papers. So from one of those, I'm going to cut a 4 1/4 inch square. So I'm going to pick one that I like. I'm going to pick that one just because I can. I want that one. So I'm going to get a 4 1/4 inch. 4 1/4. That's right. Yeah, because it's the same width as my mats and layers. That's right. It does make total sense. 4 1/4. And I'll show you why. So that's what we need. That's going to go with my inner ones. So I'm going to put that to one side. And then I'm going to bring these back in. Those were my outer ones. And I'm now just going to stick those alternatively. Again, remembering that the box is going to look that way. So
phenomenal, isn't it?
So always put my papers. Can you see this one travels that way? If I had to put it that way, when this box is made,
yes.
Can you see that flower is now upside down?
Yeah.
So it's all about just thinking it through when you're doing it. Popping that one that way. And to me, that one goes that way. And yeah, that's that one. Those are going to go that way. Yeah, that looks...
It's just like we were talking about within Wake Up Call with Through the Looking Glass. It's about positioning them into place first so that you know, that's where we need to go. And something like that, it's just envisioning or actually doing it, as in turn the actual folds of the exploding box so that you can visualise which way it's going to
Yeah.
go, so you can get the papers in the right position.
If you do it, you won't be the first person to it, and you won't be the
gosh,
last.
no.
It's what, you know, you put these on. I have problems with easel cards.
Right.
Because easel cards, you can put it on, and then when you twisted easel cards, twisted easel cards. That's the word I was thinking.
Corrine.
Twisted easels, not just regular easels. Twisted easels.
Twisted easels.
I have had my paper on at 90 degrees the wrong way so many times with twisted easels, because I put them on what I think is the right way, then you twist it, and it goes just, like 90 degrees out, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's like, oh, it's going the other way.
So I often, with twisted easels, I'll put them into position before I start sticking my first... Once you've got your first mat and layer on, all your other mats and layers follow, don't they? Because
They do. Yeah,
you've got it right. But it's just getting that first mat and layer on a twisted easel can just be... I don't know. It catches me out every time. I always have to think it through.
Think the direction that it's going in, yeah. That's actually going to be one of my goals. We were talking about it in Wake Up Call. Don't do resolutions, because I never stick by them. So I tend to do goals. And that's one that I'm going to try and do, set myself goals with certain shows, is at least one concept card. Because I know I sound like a broken record when I've said it in the past. I'm not one for concept cards. I've never been a big fan of the concept style. I like clean, crisp, square, rectangle, but some are really quite fun to get creative with.
I agree, but I think sometimes with Crafters Companions, when we're doing things like our creator cards or our thing, we've got such beautiful designs that they do benefit just from being a regular card. I totally get where you... I do totally get where you're coming from, but there are other times when I think you almost lose some of the concepts.
You can do, it's
that balance,
right.
isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm going to pop these ones on here. Let's put this on here. And I am going to stick with the pattern paper showing, because I think that on top of the plain paper that when these drop down, would work. Now, sometimes when people do exploding boxes, they twist the inner one so that you've got a twisted one. Oh, look at that, moved that. You've got a twist. But because this, we needed to get it to fit and we needed to get the vase in, it would only work square on. Each box had to be square inside the other. Now, there are certain styles that you could do where you could, because what you have to do is you have to put this inner box it has to be a lot smaller, because it has to be sort of basically diagonal, doesn't it?
Yeah, you're doing it at complete
and the vase wouldn't have fitted in. So unless you're going to do a really large outer box, then I couldn't get it to fit to go right. But that's, I'm sure you could work that one out if you wanted to, but you'd probably have to either enlarge the outer box or make this inner one smaller, but still big enough to get the pop-out vase in. So it is something that I'd thought about, but on this occasion didn't work. It's what we were saying. Sometimes concept cards aren't appropriate. For this, twisting that in a box wasn't appropriate. Oh, a little bit of glue.
And then the thing is, when it comes to, of course, our shows, and certainly our craft-alongs like you're doing now, whenever any of us do it, we're always giving you the measurements. We've prepped it, we've got the measurements to hand. So you can have them. I know we always post them on our pages afterwards. Then you can go and adapt them. If you want to do what Corrine's doing, but make the base layer bigger, and then that inner layer, then start to do it at an angle of that, you can do it. It's that creative play,
I think for me personally, I do more regular cards on our regular shows. I try to do more concept cards on our craft-alongs. Just, I suppose it's because of the time.
Yeah.
See, the difference with a craft-along is we do every step. Now, if this was on a regular show, I would have had a lot of these prepped. I'd have even had the mats and layers together and what have you, So it just is different. Now, this is why I cut that second square, and you'll see that should then line up with that one that way, and it should line up with that one that way. And if you get them all to line up, it'll look really smart. That's the difficult bit. If it doesn't, at the moment, if those aren't quite lining up, you can't see. At this point, your lining up is tested, because you can see straight along there, straight along there, and that's what you want to achieve. I've still got a bit of glue from the top of that paper. There we go. And that then is my second box. So we'll quickly just do the lid, and then we can have a stop and make sure everybody is caught up. So my finished design for this is 4.5 by 6 3/4. And we couldn't go any smaller than that, otherwise I couldn't get my flowers in.
Yeah.
So let's just do the lid. So, oops, the lid for this one is, let's just do this one. So we needed 6 5/8.
Okay,
and again, we're going to score at 1 inches. So 6, and that's 4/8. That's 5/8 there. Just on that join. It couldn't have been more awkward if it tried. 6 5/8 there. And so that's 4/8, which is a half. 5/8 is halfway down there. There we go. And again, we're just going to use one of these papers. We're going to pick one. And let's see if we pick one. I want the mat for this is 4 1/4. So let's, oh, which one? Yeah, I'll go for that one, I think. Can I get 4 1/4 out of that? Yes, easily. So let's go 4 1/4, which is just there. One there. And is that right? That doesn't look like a very big.
Question it yourself now.
Oh, we shall. I might have to just double check that one, but we shall see. Hopefully that is. So all we're going to do on here is we're just going to score at 1 inch there and around there, all the way around. Oh, sorry, this just, you can see, look, there you go. I'm just scoring at 1 inch all the way around. There we are. And we'll cut again.
Even that colour, sometimes you wouldn't necessarily think that would go with the pink.
I know.
But it does.
It does, doesn't it?
It does,
I just think it came from the same pack.
Yeah.
And you just know that they're all going to work, don't you? There we go, one on there. So when I cut on this one, I am just cutting to the inside of that score line, just fractionally. Now, if you wanted to, the next thing you could do is you could be cutting, so that's 1 inch, you could be cutting 3/4 of an inch strips, and you could be decorating that as well. So if you know, that'd be lovely if you want to do that, but I just thought for today, I think we've gone far enough for today. But if you want to add in that extra decoration, then think about cutting 3/4 inch strips on here and on the outer box and decorating those edges as well. It's, you know, we just sort of, this is what we do with the craft along, is we just start you along, and it's, I don't know, it's amazing where you go from there, isn't it?
It is, yeah, because we've seen so many occasions where many of you have taken part in the craft along, but you've maybe not got the same paper.
Yep.
Or the same cardstock, or maybe the same dies, but you still follow along with the initial step by step and then do it your own way.
That's it. It does fit perfectly, and I'm finding the blue. It just looked small before I'd scored it, but there we go. But now look at that. Can you see the blue is just flowing straight onto that cardstock? Let's just make sure that burnishes down. Oh, I can feel it wriggling. Just burnish that just to there, and then tape pen to there and to that one. So we're an hour in, we're exactly halfway.
Okay.
So we will need to crack on because the vases, you know, the flowers are going to take a bit of time, but this is a really good place to have a pause for everyone to catch up, because we've now got our inner box here. We can pop that again. It's trying to collapse in on itself because there's nothing in the centre, but you can see there's my inner box, and we've already seen we've got the outer box there. So those are our two boxes put together.
Yeah, looking fab. Looking really good. Corrine says we'll take just a little bit of a break just to let anyone catch up. No questions at the moment, which is a good thing when it comes to the craft along. Rachel has just dotted away for the rest of the day, but we've now got Susie who's taken over for the remaining of craft along, and then later on in Monday Makers. We've going back to, so Alicia was saying, thank you, thought I'd missed the second box step. No problem whatsoever. Just as well, always asking if you need. Diane on YouTube is saying, I didn't realise I was going to miss the live shows so much. Hope we all had a wonderful holiday. We did do. We all did do. Should just say as well, just at this point as well, so when, if you've noticed maybe the info that's not come up, or I know there was a change, like, can I just say, going back on a lot of the team being down and out with the sickness bug, we've got Sam and we've got Lily in the gallery, who isn't their daily job. It was either that or we went to pre-records that we'd done, but we were like, nope, they were coming in, making sure that we could come live on our first day back. So a big shout out to Sam and Lily, who are doing everything they can. And Jamie as well, who's having a look too. So we've got the full team in, making sure that we can be live today. So big shout out to them. Rosalind saying, thanks Craig, hopefully everyone will be better soon and very healthy. I'm sure they will, fingers crossed. Linda saying, hello Craig and Corrine, I've really missed the live shows over the break, so glad to have you back. We just about weren't back if it wasn't for Sam and Lily, and of course for Jamie. I should just say as well, even John and Liam came in to make sure that we could get the connection up and running, so it was really a big team effort. Gilmore on YouTube is saying, I love the colours and the papers Corrine selected for this project. She is queen of flower making. Yes, she is indeed. We've got Christine Mahoney saying, hello everyone, I'm here. Been watching on the big TV, trying to be productive while watching. Well, that'll be my day tomorrow. So if I am only in for launch party tomorrow, which just to let you know, launch party is earlier, it's the middle show. So if I am just in for that show as planned, before and after I'm taking my tree and decorations down. If Ben is still under the weather and he can't manage tomorrow and therefore I'll be in all day, I'll need to do it another day. I don't know when I'm going to do it, but I'll need to do it another day. That is for sure. Rightio, no questions, no comments as such at the moment. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of a break, let you catch up, and then we'll dive straight back to Corrine, where we can start with the actual craft along part of your pop-out vase for that box, exploding box that she's making at the moment. So I believe we're going to have, are we having a look at, do you know something? Actually, let's have a look at Club Inspire. If you are new to us and you've heard me talk about platinum prices and you want to know all about it, she's going to be back tomorrow with a bang. But until then, here's Sarah to tell you all about Club Inspire.
Welcome to Club Inspire, the crafters companion community where you can feed your crafty obsession. Join our fantastic loyalty club today and receive 20% off your first order. We'll also give you 250 points to help get you started. Other benefits of joining Club Inspire include exclusive special offers and discounts for Club Inspire members only, exclusive sneak peek previews of brand new product launches, and of course the Club Inspire community group on Facebook, where you can access exclusive content such as downloads, offers and inspiration, and of course you can chat and share your makes with other members. You'll receive 1 point for every pound, dollar or euro you spend, and the more points you receive, the more benefits you'll unlock. So what are you waiting for? Sign up, join the club and start rewarding yourself today.
Here at Crafters TV, it couldn't be easier to get your hands on the latest crafty must-haves. Leave the hard work to us while you shop from the comforts of your own living room. Head to the Crafters Companion website to see our full crafty range, or hit the Shop the Day button to see all the new and exciting products featuring on Crafters TV. Once you've filled your cart, leave it to us to get your crafty goodies to you in super quick time, so you can get on with being creative. Crafters Companion, making crafty shopping a breeze. Here at Crafty
missed all
TV,
those
it
gorgeous-
couldn't be easier to get your hands on the latest crafty must-haves.
All right, Ben,
Leave
all
the
right.
hard work to us while you shop from the comforts of your own living room.
There he is.
Head to
See,
the
even when
Crafty
he's not
Companion
here, he wants to
website
be, he
to
wants
see
to be
our
the
full
star of the
crafty
show,
range,
our Ben.
or
Yes, let's dive. We're going to dive straight back to Corrine because we're now going to do our pop-out element of our exploding box, which I know so many of you are eagerly awaiting. So, Corrine, it's over to you.
Okay, so I have got a white piece of card and we're going to do our vase first. So I'm going to pop this on here. Now I'm going to have my white vase solid, so I'm going to pop that one onto here, and then I'm going to use one of these little arms. So I need 3 of these little arms in total.
Okay.
So I've just got one of them cutting on there. Now, if you remember, we were saying earlier, if you caught us in Wake Up Call, to do the vase as a whole, you needed 2 of those outlines. So we're going to cut 2 of those out. And remember 3 of the little arms. I mentioned earlier you're going to get full instructions on how to do this. It was just popped out of my folder. So we've got the first one. I'm not going to die cut the detail into this one. We're going to do it separately. So we can take that one out of there. Then, oh, mustn't lose that. That's a little arm that we needed. So I'm going to get the second one and pop that on to there, and then that little arm just there, and we can die cut that one out. And then, this is where it all starts to get everything to tie together. Remember the lid for the second box we made out of this lovely blue? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the detail on my vase in this blue.
Okay.
So I'm not wasting anything. I'm using as much as I can. And so there's my second arm, and there's my second vase. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop this one onto here. Pop that on there. Let's get a little piece of tape. And I'm also going to get the gorgeous rose detail. Oh, come on, pick up. Oh, dear me. Right, that way round. There we go. Pop that into there. So you can do it either way, because if you remember earlier I did it, use the magnetic
That's right,
shim.
yeah.
But you can tape it down. So we can tuck that, and then I want, where's my other little, it's still on here. I want that one, and I'm just going to get myself a little piece of card on here so I can cut them at the same time. There we go, and I'm going to pop that one right on the bottom there. Make the most of all the plate. There we go. Oh, I feel like my die machine's a long way away. I feel like I've gone right across the
Right to
counter.
the other side.
Such
Right
a
to
long
the other
way
side.
to go to get that. There we go, right. So, if you remember, we've got 2 of those. 2 of those. We've got 1, 2. Now we've got the third arm just there. Move that out of the way. And then I'm going to, you can take this out. So look at this. It's cut this absolutely beautifully into my cardstock. So what I want now,
Yeah.
get all these bits out. There we are, right, just get, now we were saying earlier, you must clean your die before your die cuts, because if that die is full of paper there, then it just cannot cut into your cardstock, because it just doesn't have the blade depth, because that blade is full of cardstock. So once, oh, I've still got, there.
You're doing it
There
the
we go.
proper way, unlike me who just whacks it against the desk.
I find, I do, unless we've got Leanne on the show with us, and then never do that.
No, there's a lot of things that I don't do when Leanne's about that I will do when she's not.
But I find small dies like that quite hard to pop on the desk.
Yeah.
There's nothing to hold on to. So I am pretty good when it's a small die like that. I will try and do it the right way. So we're just going to do 2. That's the second one. And then we're going to give it, take that one out. You see, absolutely perfect. As long as you take the tape off as well. It's amazing how the tape holds on.
Although, do you know what I've been trying to do? Just before I went off for our little break, I've been trying to use up all my autumn washi tape.
Oh, have you?
Instead of my low-tack tape, I've been using my washi tape to try and use that up to hold
Yeah.
the dies down. Because I've got abundance of it. I'm not going to use it all, so I'm just as well using it to tack my dies down?
I called it masking tape, and I use it when I'm doing like my mixed media inky things. And I actually got it on the table. So this is.
You use the pink one, don't you?
I'm using this pink one. This, got it, nearly. So this one, I could miss that. It's almost a mix between a masking tape and a washi tape. Can you see this one that I use?
Oh yes, oh yeah, you can't you?
Yeah, it is somewhere between a masking tape and a washi tape, and I love it for doing inky stuff.
It's good
because it doesn't pull off.
No.
So if you've got washi tape and you want to mask off for inking, then it's brilliant. Use any of your washi tapes for that.
It's good to know, because when it comes to the masking tape or stencil tape, I always use Sticks 2. The adhesive company just through Newcastle that Sarah and Big Boss Ruth are good friends with. It's theirs that I use. We don't do our own, hence why obviously Con says what one she uses. I know Lily's saying she's the same. I use Stick 2, so it works well, doesn't it, for your mixed media? Right, now all I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut these down, and I'm just going to cut them very shy of the score line. I'm just taking off the fraction, because what I want to do is I want to pop it on, so I'm just making it, just taking off that, can you see, just a slither, the tiniest slither. And if you find it easier, you can always do it with your paper trimmer, but when you've got sharp scissors like this, it works very easy. So I'm just coming just on the inside of that score line, and then just take it a tiny bit off the bottom, and a minimal off the top. Then the last one, just to there. Take off the tab, because we don't need that. Just to there, and again, the smallest bit up there. So, what we've got now is we've got our vase, and it's got all the score lines in there, because you remember I didn't put it back through the die cutting machine to cut more panels into it. Those score lines have stayed true. Still in there, yeah.
If you watch this morning, you'll see that they sort of got flattened out a little bit, but that's just because of die cutting back into them.
It's the same effect, isn't it? If you were to run a piece of cardstock with an embossing folder and then run it through with the die afterwards, it's just going to flatten.
Yeah, it's why we always say you must die cut first and emboss second.
Definitely.
So all I'm going to do now is going to use my tape pens. Let's just put a piece of card underneath there to keep that. And this is my dotty one. So if you've been picking up your tape pens today, this is going to be perfect for that. Nice. Oh, no dotty ones in stock apparently. Right, I'm going to put one on this one in the middle panel. And you see, because I've taken off that little bit, it just fits. Look at that.
It does. It's a perfect
fit. Well, it should be. It's the same die, isn't it?
Well, that's true.
Same die. So let's take the second one. There we go. This is, this is a lovely panel that you could, and it cuts into your cardstock. So why, you could have a bigger piece of card and you could cut it into it. So now I'm going to do this on the alternate ones.
It would be a nice one as well. Do what you've just done there, but maybe pop it onto acetate and then colour with your alcohol markers.
Yeah.
Oh,
I see what you mean. Yes. Get that stained glass window effect. Or there's a shaker behind it. That's where I thought you were going when you said about the acetate. I've got a sticky on there. So that one wants to go on to there. And then we can bring these in. Let's do it with the tape. Do one. And then, now you can't enlarge this vase by adding extra pieces. No. I know people have sort of said, well, if I put it on there, will it make it bigger? These angles have all been worked out for a 6-sided vase. If you start trying to make it 9-sided or what have, your angles aren't going to work.
They're not going to meet, are they?
No. So, just remember it. It's a very clever die, and it's done all the hard work for you, but it's for the size it is. Now, with this, don't try and match that up. Fold it over on one of the score lines. I've done it on the second one, and then fold that one back, and it will meet perfectly. And there you go.
Look at that.
That's your little vase. And as you can see, what we want is you know, if you were doing certain shapes, you could have it so it folds flat for transport, but which is not what we're doing on this one. So all I'm going to do now is I've got the little arms, and hopefully you can see there is a score line just there, a score line there, and a score line there. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to fold over on that score line and then fold back. Have I got it the right way around? I always have to think this through. Sure, yes I have.
It's like little bats, isn't it, like birds?
Oh, it goes that way, isn't it? That way. That's the right way. So it goes in like that. So it's like a little V almost. So then we're going to do the next one. Now, you will get the little instruction sheet, and we've done loads and loads of little videos. So don't be panicking about that. Then you're going to I just sometimes use my thumbnail, fold it into itself. If you fold it the wrong way, it doesn't matter, because I always think all you've done is reinforce that score line by doing it both directions. So it's not the end of the world if you fold any of these in the wrong direction to begin with, because yeah, it just adds to the strength. So what we need now is these little bits are going to be the bit that goes onto the wall of your vase. So what you need to do is you need to glue them together, but no glue on those ends.
No.
So let's just find a piece of card. Let's get my tape pen and come down to there. Again, wet glue is brilliant for this. Now you're just making sure we've got them the right way round. There's a little dip and you don't want to put them upside down, which I've done before now. So if you look, oops, it just dips down. So you just got to make sure you get the right way. Make sure that one is, I think it might go that way. There we go, that one. So then we're just going to come down on here, and we can run all the way down from there. Oh, that's dotty. All the way down from there to there. There we go. And then this one will work, will pop to there, and there you can see we now have our 3-armed little support. So what we're going to do now, you can see that. So what you've done now, this is 300 GSM. Each of those arms now is 600 GSM. So it's nice and strong. Oops, and I've taped, that's it. So all I'm going to do then is I'm going to take this, and what I need to do, if you think about it, if I'm going to just lay it on there, can you see we're going to alternate panels. Now this just happens that it's fallen on the ones that I've got the pattern on. All you want to do is just glue it flat on there. So I'm going to do it with my tape pen just for speed, if I can get it on. One on there, and then on here. There we go. Not that easy on the smallest bits always. Might have to actually do a little bit of tacky glue on there as well.
And this is the bit that you're going to take your time, aren't you? You're not going to rush it. No,
you're not. And then the final, but you do have to get the glue on all 3 arms before you put it in. Otherwise, you're not going to get it on. Let me just make sure I've got the last little bit of tacky glue on there. Right. So once you've got to there, now you might not. I might not be able to do this in the easiest way for you to see, but you'll just have to put the arms back, and then we come in. These are so much easier to do at home when you're not trying to do it face onto a camera.
No.
2, and then that one's going to go on there, and that one's going to go on there. Oh, come on, straighten it out. Ah, that one's popped off. There we go. Press that on, and why have I got a little kink? I've got a little kink in this one, but that's not the end of the world. Don't know why I've got a little kink in there. Have I put them on the set right ones? Yeah, okay, we're having a little kink in this one, but it would still fold flat. I don't know why I've got a little kink in that, but we have. But for what we're going to do, that's going to be absolutely fine because we're using those as a support. So make sure that they are on. There we go. Maybe it's because I've gone down a little bit too far. There we are. But there you are. So this is your vase with the mechanism in, and we're going to pop that inside our card. Now, I'm just going to cut one more piece before we go to the break. So one last piece that we need is white card. I move my guillotine away. Oh. And I want to cut it to 3/4 of an inch wide. Now, I find 3/4 is a hard one to get onto your guillotine, so I'm going to trim this to 3. This was just a piece of scrap. So 3/4 less 3 inches less 3/4 is 2 1/4 inches. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So if I move that to 2 1/4 and cut, then this piece here, if I put it on here, is exactly 3/4 of an inch. Does that make sense? So we've cut away what we need rather than cut it away, because I find to come onto here, look at that, to measure 3/4 is quite hard. So once I've got that to 3/4 of an inch, I'm going to cut it to 3 inches long, which is easy. So there. And then we're going to score that. Where's my scoreboard? I put all these away thinking I'd done with them. I'm going to score those at 1 inch and 2.5 inches. Okay. There we go. Is that right? All right, okay. I'm not sure why I've done it like that. I would have done that a bit different. Okay, that's fair enough. Strange measurements. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to get a little bit of pen and I'm just going to come into there and I'm going to pop that. So that's, look, that is exactly the same size as that. So all we can do is pop that one in there, keeping it flush to the bottom, and you'll see why in a minute, and pop that one in there. And then I can just come straight down here with my fingers and just push that. So basically what I've done is I've just created a little base, and we're going to use that to glue it down inside the vase. There we go. So you can see just in there. Right. So, Craig, you've got something to show us, and then we can get back to making the flowers.
I do indeed. So we've got some luxury cardstock you might want to get your hand on. Now, when it comes to this luxury card, you're going to get 4 packs. Now, within each pack, you are going to be getting 10 of your shedless glitter. You're also going to get 10 of your matte and 10 of your mirror. That's within each set. Now, it does say on the screen there you've got a 4-pack with 120 sheets. You don't actually get 120 sheets. You get a little bit more than that, and I'll explain that in a moment. But what you've got then, remember, you're going to be getting all 4 packs here. You're going to be getting your purple. So once again, you're going to get 30 in total. Actually, it's 30 and a bit. So you're going to get 10 of your shedless glitter, 10 of your mirror, and then 10 of your satin. But just to say, that is 120 full A4 sheets that you get. These extras that you've got here to show in the packaging, they're not actually included in the count. So that is your little free extra ones within the purple, and you get that within all 4 packs. So it's 120 full A4 sheets that you get. So you've got that within the purple. Once again, you've got that also within the green here. So your 10 of your shedless glitter, 10 of your mirror, and 10 of your satin. These 2 here are extras. Exactly the same when it comes to your gold. So 10 shedless glitter, 10 mirror, and 10 of the satin gold that we can see here. And then you've also got exactly the same 10, 10, and 10 when it comes to the silver here. So it is your Centura Pearl luxury cardstock, where you've got your 4 packs with 120 plus sheets of cardstock. All of that, $28.77 or $45.93. If you are platinum, however, that is going to come down to £23.02 or $36.74. All of these, including the adhesives, any extras Corinne's been using, is across on the website. Have a look and shop the day. If it's not been featured on Shop the Day, just have a look in that search engine across on the website, which is of course crafterscompanion.co.uk.com or .eu. Although we feature everything within pounds and euros, you guys Central Europe again, .eu is the place for you to go to have a look within euros. Right, Corinne, brief little pause there, but let's jump back to see how you're going to get on.
Thank you, because we need to get these together. So I'm just going to start putting some bits together, and then if we don't get all of the flowers made, that's not the end of the world.
No.
So I've got my 2 boxes. All I'm going to do is I'm going to pop some glue on the base of the small one. If I've got it not sealed up, there we go. Let's make sure that's clear. There we are. Right. So I'm going to put glue on the base of my smallest one, just like that. Now remember, we said we didn't need to put any tidying up pieces on the bottom of there, because that is going to be hidden inside there. So I can just line that up, and you can see when you pop those down, look, that they should all line up nicely in there. There we go. So put that into there just like that.
Okay.
Just burnish that, and then I can get my vase. And now it's up to you. You could either fill the vase first and then put it inside the box, but if you do that, you might just find that you've got to then leave it to properly dry for a long time before you start manhandling it. So what I'm going to use, I'm just going to get my scissors, or anything along your bone folder, just to press down on there. And that now can be drying nicely whilst we make the flowers.
Okay.
Just making sure that's pressed down, because obviously I've got this bit in the middle.
Yeah.
So I'm just pressing that up, and I lifted it back off. There we go. There we go. There we are. So those are my 2 boxes glued inside each other, and I've got my vase inside there. So let's pop that to one side, and those were my 2 lids. Put those to one side. So we're going to get cutting lots of flowers. Let's actually...
Loads and loads.
Loads and loads. So I'm going to jump over to my larger plates. So I'm going to do 3 of each flower. So let's trim down a piece of white multi-purpose, and we're going to pop in white. I'm going to get the little flower sprays. I'm going to do the stems, and which are the ones I'm going to do in white? I'm going to do the one that's a bit like a lily, pop that one on, and my daisies, and that's all I'm going to do in white for now, I think. So we can put those on. Might just do a little piece of tape just to stop everything from slipping. There we go, through there, and then that's going to go on there. Pop that one. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, yep. Thought for a minute I hadn't got all my plates then.
Just to ask it, Corrine, Anne on Facebook is saying, is there a reason for the double boxes, or would one do?
One would do fine. Yep. I just thought it
Nice,
looked
and
a bit
it's different,
nice,
isn't it? Yeah.
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 No, if you want to just do it as a single box, absolutely perfect. I just thought it would look quite nice. There was nothing more to it than that. Now, with these, you can run them through on an embossing mat, but actually it'll still work nicely. You can still ink through them even without an embossing mat. So on my daisy, I'm going to, let me just remind myself what I've done on that one. Oh, I haven't done anything, so it's just on the lily. So on the lily, I'm going to grab my honey pot. Actually, I think I might get a finger dauber. That might be easier. Now I've actually done it, and I'm just going to get my honey pot, and I'm just going to go through there. Even though I've not embossed it, it'll still go through lovely. There you go. And all you need to do, where did my cloth go? I must have thrown that one away. Let's grab another one.
Remember as well, we do have the pigment ink pads where you've got the lemon tonic. They're on the website as well, Shop the Day.
Perfect. So I can then just poke the tool. God, there it is. Poke that out, and you'll see, look at that. Doesn't that look effective?
It does, doesn't it?
Very dimensional.
So worthwhile doing that.
Yep. Take that one off there, and then I've got that one. We can put these, we can colour these in a minute, and also the daisy. There we go. And then we can come back in. Actually, I could be doing cutting some other bits while these are going through. So I can cut number 2 of those, and of those, and of that one. And then I've got some yellow here. let's cut a strip of the yellow. It needs to be quite as big. And onto there, I'm going to cut some of my centres.
Okay.
Just try and get through as many as we can in one go.
You might have if you've been crafting for even just a short period of time, you're going to have lots of other flower dyes that you'll be able to use as well.
Yeah, and you're going to have so many bits of scrap bits of card and paper. I mean, look at these, from these centres, how many, you know, you're going to be able to just get so many out of there. So is that everything? That was 1, 2, and I should have oh, blimey, I'm losing bits already. Hope I've not left it on my die plate and recut it through. I bet I have. I bet I have.
We'll find out, eh?
Let's have a look. There we go, 1. Let's see. Is this?
Find a die.
Yeah, look, there's 2 in there. I forgot to take it out. That was lucky that it actually even cut.
I know, eh?
After what I was saying earlier. So we can pop those ones out. Oh, there we go. We've got some yellow centres.
The thing with the Gemini is you're probably, you know, you're confident knowing it'll cut the 2 layers. It's just whether that base layer is going to have that nice roundness to it. Sometimes it can be a little bit fibrous, in which we were talking about within Wake Up Call. No, it wasn't. It was the start of Craft Along when it cuts with your guillotine.
That's
I always
it.
recommend 1 at a time, so you get that crisp cut. Each cut.
Right, take that one. And I've taken that one out, and then we're just going to ink through that again. Do you know what? I am sometimes I am the messiest crafter going. I cannot see that dauber that I had, unless I put it back in. I try to be tidy, and it just doesn't work, you know, Craig.
See, when I'm crafting, whether it's for myself or whether it's my demos or that, I get messy. But what I have to do, Corrine, is every new project I start, I have to tidy up first.
Right,
so
yeah.
I'll do 1 demo, and then my craft desk is a mess. I have to tidy it. I have to put the card back, I have to put all my tools out, I have to get myself sorted so it's a clean slate.
You almost like to do a reset
start again.
every time.
And that's what it's like each time, it's like a reset,
Yeah.
Otherwise I've got pattern paper that I'm not going to be using within my next demo, but it's still out because I used it before and then I get confused and
Oh, I
mixed up
totally get that. And,
yeah.
and the theory is that, yes, I do that, but it often doesn't happen. Sometimes, you're racing ahead, thinking ahead, and, you know, it's... Yeah. I'd like to say I try, but it doesn't always work. Not always.
Lily's saying it's just the same as me. It gets messy when she's doing a demo, but then she needs to have a reset and tidy up ready for the next demonstration that she's prepping.
Right, and then we can bring this one in, and then we can just move those over. This is why I love having things like my Gemini, because I can just be cutting so many pieces at once. So we can just keep going through there. So you just cut as many flowers as you want. I don't know how many we're going to get of these finished, but we'll try and do as many as we can. So I wanted at least 3. I'm going to need a lot more stems, so I'm just going to keep going with the stems whilst we do it. So this is 3 of all of my regular. 3's just work nicely, so that we've got 2 of those on there. Let's just trim this down.
When you were saying, how these would be good, obviously, for that bit box, I was thinking the same earlier. When you were doing the panels, Corrine, I was thinking back to my own stats, certainly 12 by 12. So, yeah, I've got lots of bits offcuts that are tiny bits. But then I was thinking, I've either got, or I have got, tiny little bits, but then I also have panels that are maybe round about 5.5 by 8 inches or something. So these be good to cut to the panel size 4 3/4 by 6 3/4.
Yeah.
And then all my smaller bits I can come and do the flowers. So although it's a big exploding box concept, you'll be able to use a lot of your off-cut pieces.
Exactly. Oh yeah, really good. Now, what we're going to do, remember how much we were saying we really liked some of that card? So I'm going to use some of that gorgeous pink.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go through with this one here. Now, I tend to think of these more as fantasy flowers rather than set flowers. I'm not sure whether this one's supposed to be a dahlia or not. I'm not totally sure. I want some of that blue. Let's get some of that blue next. Cut a piece of that. Now, can I get this onto my mat? Just about just there. And we're going to use the echinacea onto there. I can see that's an echinacea. You can see that one. So we want 3 of those. So we're now, that's the 3rd set of centres. We just need as many of the white bits as you can, and then we're on to our 3s of those, and then we'll just do some foliage as well. So it's not actually going to take as long as you think. Oh, I know what I needed. I needed some little centres, some white centres I can be cutting there. Luckily, those cut out in pairs. There, look. It's like a double die. You can see it's 2 completely separate little flowers. Yeah. So it doesn't matter that I missed that one. There we go. And if I've missed any out, I can cut them through in a minute. That's a great thing. So I've got another set of centres there. I think I'm going to leave the centres for a minute, put those back on here. I just need to keep going with these stems. You can cut the stems out in white as well, if you want, in green if you wanted to. I just cut them in white, but you can cut them whatever colour works for you.
The thing with the flower ones as well, as Susie says, and it's a good point, you know, they all go through the mini. So if you've got the mini and you're only wanting to do 1 at a time or 2 at a time, then of course you can do that with the mini.
Of course you can. Right, let's do this last one of this. It's been sitting on my desk. I didn't ink it through. Just going to ink it through before I take it out of the die. Always easier. If you can, if it pops out of the die, it's not the end of the world. They often click back in, don't they? Quite easily. But if you can ink before it pops out, you know, like I said before, if you want to put them through with your embossing mat, but I really like that. I think that looks really quite...
You would still think they've been embossed.
You would, wouldn't you?
You would, yeah, you would.
So if we then get our pink, so with the pink, I'm going to do it with... now I need to go... I've got pink tulip out as well, but pink tulip's not going to show on that cardstock, is it? So I'm going to pop that one out of there.
Okay.
Just make sure you take your tape off. Let's get a dauber that will show that one up, and then just ink through there. You can see when it's gone through. Definitely.
There's that one in the fuchsia, did you say?
It is.
Yeah, fuchsia. So that is actually within that pigment bundle as well.
Yep. Oh, can you imagine doing these with the pigment ink and then heat embossing them?
Nice.
That would look lovely, wouldn't it? Now, the ink doesn't do your die any harm whatsoever. Now, the reason I'm getting the ink off before I cut again is because if I don't, when I put my sandwich plates back together, all I'm going to do is ink my plate above. So, oh, I don't want pink, I want blue. There we go. And we're going to just go through this. So this is Lagoon. Now, I'm sure I saw Lagoon in that bundle as well. Did I?
There was Parakeet.
Oh, was it Parakeet?
Yeah.
That's what I saw. But that would work too. There we go.
Yeah, lovely colours.
And that. There you go. Look at that. And I can see all the little indentations. They look lovely. So.
And that's the thing, you know, there could be any flower you want. Do you know what I mean? Completely made up.
Yeah, and that's when I'm happiest making flowers. When I'm making flowers that aren't contrived. To, you know, I'm not restricted to, does it look like what it, you know, the name or what have you. Oh, I have put that one on. You know, that's when I really enjoy making my flowers.
Where they can be anything you want.
Absolutely.
They can look and be coloured any way that you want.
Oh, I needed some more of those. I still didn't cut the little white flowers, but never mind. We can do that in a minute. Keep forgetting. So I've got 1, 2 of those. 1 of each of those. I want 3 of each of those. So we'll just... I mean, you can have whatever number you want, really.
I'd agree with you. You really do want to go all out with them, don't you? You want to jam-pack it full with the flowers.
Yeah. I've seen it with the vases not as full, and it really does look its best when it's nice and full. It just, everything just looks so, it just looks, it's got much more of a wow to it. So, there we go. Oh, yeah.
Be a good project if you know someone that's unfortunately in hospital
Yeah.
Because I don't know beyond the UK. Obviously, in the UK, you can't take real flowers into hospitals or anything like that.
Oh, this would be beautiful.
So you can imagine that. So it's I wonder what that is. They're going to open it. You know, the nurses, the doctors, any relatives of that come in just to pop their head in. They'll be like, oh, what's that? Now, whether you choose to have it opened or closed, you know, you might choose to have it open so that you can see the flowers inside, or you might close it so that when someone comes in, you know, although you've got it, that might just make the nurse's day. They've maybe had a hard day, a horrible day, struggled that day, and they've gone into your room, see how you're doing, you've opened that lid, and it just makes them smile. It's one of those that will make others smile, not just yourself.
Yeah, yes, totally. Right, so 2 of those cut so far. I'm going to cut the 3rd, and then we can cut some foliage, and we can start putting it together, because, yeah, I knew this one was going to go to the wire for time-wise, but I thought it was worth it.
I'd agree.
Thought it was worth it to get that finished effect. So we can put number 3 onto here. And yeah, if you've got any questions, shout up and give them to Craig
Yeah,
now.
no questions as such.
I know, you know, both Craig and I are on our socials after, so if you get any questions, we can always do it. But if you're asking the question, then so's somebody else. So
that's the thing.
Please ask now, when at a point when everybody can see those responses.
Just while you're doing that one, we've got Bonnie saying hello from Aurora, Ohio. We've got Gilmore saying lol. Haunted by Ben Mosby. That was going over that voiceover just earlier on. Also saying Happy New Year. Good way to start the year with CC Live.
Thank you.
Stephen, I was having a little smile at your comment earlier on because we know some things that you don't know. Saying looking forward to seeing the new products coming out this year.
I don't know. You must know more than me because I don't know many. There's only one that I can think of that we were talking about for blending.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And we've already talked about that one.
We talked about that, yeah. Just it was on the last day before we went off on the holidays, weren't we? Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, some really good ones.
That's the only one I'm really aware of. Actually, I need to get watching the January video. That's my fault. I've not watched the January video because it's not January yet.
No. Well,
I've got some embossing folders towards the end of the month. They're nice.
I'm smiling at them because they are, yeah.
Are you doing them here on the?
I've not got any launches. No doubt they'll be in one of my shows. But there is an element that goes with. We've got 2 sets of embossing folders launching. One of them, they've got something that I absolutely love that's incorporated with them.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say with that one.
Right.
So let's just say Matt and Leah. How does that work together, Craig? That's all that I'm saying. Rhonda Crowley on YouTube is saying 2022 went out with a bang for me. I got sick, and so did my stove. Lol.
And what?
And our stove.
Oh no.
Yeah. The stove totally died and would cost $500 to fix. Dishwasher started leaking, and the fridge ice motor making noises, and I am sick.
Oh dear.
So 2023 is bringing in new kitchen appliances.
Yeah, just think how lovely our kitchen's going to look.
Yeah. And I envy you guys stateside with your built-in ice makers in the fridges. You know, they've started to creep through here in the UK. And still not, you know. See, they're talking in the gallery saying it's too cold to have it. No, it's not. You need full-fat Coca-Cola with loads of ice. You need gin and lemonade, or tonic, as Leanne would say, with loads of ice. Always need ice. Always need ice. I hope, Rhonda, I hope you're feeling better. Anyone else that is also under the weather, you know, it's typical. I know quite a few friends that their boiler went just before Christmas, as it always does. Do you know what I mean? I'm sure some of them have got a timer on them that's just like as soon as Christmas comes
I think it's because we're at home and we're giving them a lot more welly than we are at any other time.
Well,
I think that's
I don't know. Cost of heating nowadays, I don't know. I think a lot of people, this is probably the one year where a lot of people's maybe not had it on as much as usual. But yeah, typical. It would go, won't it? Although,
right, I don't know if you noticed, I'm cutting 2 layers at the same time there.
See,
just to try and speed it up a little bit. And you know what? It's cutting absolutely beautifully. It's not a problem because I want quite a lot. I'm just cutting the foliage there and the the leaves. So I'm just going to cut as many
Susie
as I
cuts
can.
two layers at a time, as she's saying there, you know, and with the minis, where she
This
does
is
that.
the textured cardstock.
Okay.
So it's what is that? Is that 240? I think it is.
So around that, isn't
It's
it?
around that. So it's cutting that, absolutely. And getting more of an emboss in the top layer. In actual fact, by doing this, it's making the top layer even more embossed than it would otherwise. So let's just take that one out of there. Let's see if I can get another. Let's put that way round. All I'm doing is I'm just making sure that as I do it, I tape down carefully. So if I took that one there, I can get another one in there, and I can get.
We we're just talking about.
So you can see what I've done. I'm just taping it.
Oh yeah.
Because I've got the 2 layers. I'm just taping onto the mat, just so my cardstock can't wiggle.
That's good. You know, and it's just using your actual cutting mat as a helping aid as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was just saying, they're just talking about the cold. Certainly here in the UK, we had a lot in the news about you guys in Buffalo, New York, with your weather in the snow. We got the tail end of the cold wind.
We did.
Oh my God, there were so many time lapses we were seeing here across the pond of you guys in Buffalo, and there was quite a few. It was someone had just set their camera up, time lapse. It was like 9 a.m, 10 a.m, 11 a.m, 12, and it just went over. And oh my gosh, the snow. You know, being on this end, it's easy for me to say, oh my gosh, that's cool. I get that. We don't experience what you guys get.
No.
Must have been scary from what I was seeing.
I think I forget how big like New York is, because when I don't know about you, but when I think of New York, we think of the city.
That's it, yeah. You just think of like Manhattan, don't you?
Yeah, and that's it. And then I know they sort of said, oh, in New York it was really bad. So I don't know how many. I know a few of our viewers are in New York. And then I've seen pictures that people that I know that had gone to New York for Christmas and things, and I was thinking, that doesn't look bad, but then I forget, you can drive 4 hours and still be in New York, can't you? I forget,
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, I forget about things. I forget about the scale, because the scale, we just don't experience that sort of scale in England at all.
No, you don't. You really, really don't. So I know obviously the weather been hitting hard here, there, so to speak.
If you drive 4 hours in England, you're in another country.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much, yeah. You know, I'm trying to think, we were at Edinburgh to London City. It's like 2 hours on a plane.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
It's mad, isn't it?
Whereas, yeah, in some states in America, you know, you can drive, you can fly 6 hours and you've not even left your state. Well, slight exaggeration, but do you know what I mean? You're still within the confines of where you are.
Yeah. Madness. It's really hard as somebody who lives in this country, which is a small or relatively small country, to appreciate the magnitude of the size. It's mind-blowing, isn't it?
Well, I think what I'm trying to think of, prime examples, you could go from, you know, in a few hours, you can go from Scotland to England. Texas, you can go for a few hours and you're still in Texas and you're still in that one state. It's like, it's mental, just how big it is. It really is. And Australia's like that as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
So like a whole day just to get from one side to the other. Something like that.
I know, yeah. I've got a cousin who lives out there, and I remember him saying the one time they were moving, and it was like a day and a half drive because they wanted to obviously move the cars down. I was like, I just can't get my head around that sort
we
of.
could drive to New York in a day and a half. Well, not quite, but.
Right, now, I don't know if I've got enough cut, but I have just been cutting and cutting and cutting and seeing where we get to. So we've got, we'll see how far we get. If we need to cut any more bits, we can, but I wanted to make, I think I might need more foliage. It's the foliage I think I might be a bit short of, but we can see, because I've just wanted to start to put some bits together so people can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these 3, I'm going to put a little bit of my fuchsia there. Let's just put that there. And then I want a brush and a spritz bottle. I'm just going to dilute that ink down a little bit. And I'm just going to tap a little bit just to get, because these are lilies, and if you think of lilies, they've got a little bit of detail. Not a lot, but just a little bit. All adds to the prettiness, doesn't it? Just adding on.
And no staining to the clothes if you do get it on.
Oh, yeah. I love lilies, but yeah, you're absolutely spot on there, aren't you? how they do that. So then we're going to get these little ones here and onto there.
Oh, wow, Corrine, there you go. Linda on YouTube. It's an 8-hour drive from my son's home in upstate New York to New York City.
Wow.
You could literally drive a lot of the UK within that.
And that's
it's an
still in
8-hour
the
drive
same
and you're
state.
still... That's crazy. Debbie Cantwell on YouTube, you can travel for 5 hours and still be in Michigan from south to north.
Still on the same streets as our Jamie.
Does it that puts the UK into perspective, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it?
Gosh, yeah.
It just, yeah, you just can't get your head around. Look at these.
Oh, look at
that.
Well, that's coming over together.
How gorgeous do those look? And then with this one, I'm just going to take the little white flowers that we took out the centre, and we're going to pop those in the middle. So it's all about how you treat them. You know what I mean? What you do. We've not done any ink into these little white centres, but if you wanted to, you could. Yeah, just really go to town. So that one, oops, goes on there. Now, these ones here, these little daisies, all I'm going to do there is I'm going to get, this is where I've got my pink tulip out for. Pink tulip just around here. Just blend it out. Oh, I wonder what's on there. That feels like it might not be pink tulip on there. So then we can get a centre. I can then get my lemon tonic, and then I can just blend around the outside just to put a little bit of shading. And then I had a fine liner. Where is it gone?
Evelyn is saying, oh, I like the way you've just added the spots to the lilies. It's very, very
pretty,
effective.
doesn't it? Then you can just...
Oh, Michelle, that's a good idea. Michelle on YouTube saying, I'm going to use this craft-along concept to make a Valentine's bouquet.
Oh, nice.
Can I, and it's just come into my head here.
Go on then.
Right, just before Christmas, I broke my own rule. In actual fact, Corrine, you replied to me on my message, didn't you?
You did.
I did. I despise having Easter out before Christmas.
I had to say, Craig, I was more disappointed than anything else.
And then...
With a smiley face.
It was like 2 nights or that before we had our last show together, I went to go and get some petrol. And the one thing I've been asking for, I was that sad person that a couple of years ago had even emailed Cadbury's and said, would you please do a Cadbury's cream egg, but within white chocolate? So what did they do last year? They had a competition and they hid a very small amount of white cream eggs. Couldn't buy them, you had to hunt for them. So I thought, it's not fair. What have they brought out this year? White chocolate Cadbury's cream eggs. Oh my gosh, they taste amazing. Very sweet. Very sweet. No, Jamie, it's not part of the competition this year.
You've just eaten the golden egg.
Yes. No, trust me, that wasn't the case. I kept darting back to the petrol station. The other day, myself and Caitlin went round to Morrison's. Actually, it was Hogmanay we went round. Why we went round there on Hogmanay, don't know, but we're crazy, but we did. And I bought quite a big handful of white chocolate Cadbury's cream eggs. Oh my God, they're amazing.
Are they?
Just while it came into my head. No reason for that coming into my head there. I just thought I would tell you.
Yeah, you got to share, haven't you? What did I do with it?
Because what I do with the cream eggs, because I like the centre, so I bite off the top and then I bin the chocolate. And then either this is, I will take out the centre, let's just say, and then I bin the chocolate. Because I don't like milk chocolate. And now I can actually eat a whole Cadbury's cream egg. A whole Cadbury's cream egg. Yeah.
That's just too funny. You throw out half of it.
No, they don't do that, Jamie.
What was he asking?
Jamie's asking you the main cream eggs, or the main Easter eggs that you get. Do they do a Cadbury's cream egg where it is just full of the fondant inside? No, they don't.
Oh, you mean the big egg? No.
The big eggs, yeah.
No, you just have to get a normal egg and then, yeah.
Spoon it out. Yeah, spoon it out. And making ice and sugar.
Now I've introduced you to some brownie company.
Yes, you have indeed.
And I'll introduce you to one that does handmade Easter bits. And I can remember buying, it was like a half cup. It was like this big, and it was just full. I'll find the details and I'll share that one with you. Yeah, that was pretty good too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one might appeal to you, full of cream egg. Right, can you see, look at this. Look at all we've just done. Right, we've not got long left, so I don't think I'm going to get this finished. So sorry for, I mean, I really appreciate everybody joining in, but sometimes you can't always gauge exactly how long it's going to take, can you? So I'm just going to do one of these just to show you.
Especially when you've got someone talking about cream eggs.
I know. And one of the things that we do with these is we cut everything from, we don't have it all prepared.
No, we don't. No.
So there's nothing I can go, oh, and here's one I made earlier and brings in some bits, because that's not how we do craft alongs. I think when I first did my craft along, I had everything ready under the counter before I realised that's not how you do craft alongs.
I think we've all done that as well, yeah, towards the start of our craft alongs, yeah.
But no, you don't do craft alongs like that. We make it live on the show, so it's going to be, so it's difficult. So I'll show you a couple of things I do. So with these lilies, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend down the stem and then bend it backwards. So just roughly, there's no exact measurements. I'm going to take that and then I'm going to pop the lily behind. I'm going to show it you sideways on so you can see. Can you see like that?
Oh, yeah.
And that just gives it a little bit of movement. So that's that one. Then the one that's a bit like a dahlia, we're going to pop on like that.
It's quite effective just putting that little spring at the top, isn't it?
Then this one we're just going to, now with the echinacea, it's not that way, it's that way. So we can pop those like that. And those are going to go just here. So we've got 1, 2 and 3. And then the third one I've done is that. Then we're going to bring in some of the foliage. Just to show you what I did, let me just make sure I've got it the right way round, is you can start building them up before you sort of put them together. So you can build them up and start, let me find, what have I done with my craft along? Can you see it?
Right in front of you, your craft along.
It's there, look. There, couldn't see it.
Oh.
I was looking for a box.
I was looking at your finished one.
No. So all you need to do then is I'm going to take things like this one and I'm just going to pop it down here. So I'm not going to be able to put them all together, so I've just put a few.
You kiddo.
There we go. We can pop that one over the edge. I'm going to make sure I put plenty of foliage coming out over the edge as well, because that part is how it looks so lovely. So that one wants to go like that. And again, also, let's go that way. Let's fold that and put some foliage like, oops, there is glue on there. Grab there, and then we can then pop just, we're going to have to stop this in 2 ticks, but I just need to put one on there. And you can see, just using, you can see it there perfectly, just using that centre element just to grip hold of. Tacky glue just takes a second, there we go, and adjust it, oops, there we are. Put that one on there, and then also put the echinacea on, and then that one will have to be
I think this is the thing as well, Corrine, as you start to add them, this is where you're going to get, you're already going to have that sense of achievement, but you're going to, you're creating your own bouquet.
You are.
Yeah.
Now, can you see, well, that foliage has come undone. Glue that back in there, there we go. So can you see, I've only just really started putting that together. I can finish mine off, but you can see, that's how it's looking with just a few. But, let me bring in this one that I've already put together. All we've done here is just keep, look at that, just keep popping more in. So we've got the 3 lilies around the outside, we've got the 3 echinaceas, we've got all of those lovely bits. And if you want to, on this one, look, you see I put daisy and some, I've put them all, built them together. Remember, this is 3D, so make sure you you put it all the way around. Then all we've done here is we've put a bow on the front, So when you put this one up, that one's going to pop like that. Now, it doesn't go in on itself anymore because it's got the vase in. So we can put that one on. And that's got our sentiment on there, just for you, sentiment on there. And when this one comes up, look at that. Look at how they fit.
Yeah.
It's so snug. And then all I've done here is put a little bow on the top of there. You could be adding even more decoration. You could decorate around the outside. You could. I'm so sorry we didn't get to finish, but we've run right up to time.
Yeah. We've seen the concept, how to create that exploding box, of course, then how to do that pop-out vase, and then you start to be your own little florist when it comes to designing your bouquet. So that craft along was a lovely craft along that showed many different elements and concepts, but it was all about the pop-out vase. If you've not got your hands on the pop-out vase and you've thought, actually, I want to get my hands on that, I want to do that craft along or just use it elsewhere, you can absolutely get your hands on it today. So you're getting both sets of dies within this set here. So within this one, you're going to get your 8 dies. This one is your pretty vase. So it's giving you the vase, the panels, gives you the bow, as well as your just for you and the little arms, as well as a few embellishment dies. And then you're also getting your delightful bouquet. This is giving you your 12 dies. Now, you're going to get all of that for $27.97 or $31.90. If you are platinum, that is going to come down to £22.38 or $52. I keep getting my 5s and my 2s the wrong way around today. $25.52 for you guys stateside. But of course, for everyone as well, you will be getting your 100 extra bonus points. What a lovely way, of course, to kickstart the year when it comes to your pop-out vase is with your 100 extra bonus points. They did launch on the 2nd of December, so if you do want to go back and have a look at that launch day show, you can absolutely do that. But that, of course, was your craft along that you can then go back time and time again. Corrine, that was so much fun, so much love for our, Rhonda, Debbie, we've got Linda, Michelle, Rosalind, Lillian, Alicia saying it's coming on really, really well. She's going to carry on throughout the show as well. Tess saying that she loved it, and everyone said the flowers look really pretty, Corrine, so thank you.
Well, at least we got to see how each of the individual flowers was made, so you've got that concept.
You do indeed.
Yeah, we'll carry on with it and get it finished.
And that's going to work well for spring, summer, autumn or winter, if you wanted to. Right, that is our second live show of 2023, done and dusted. If you are watching live here in the UK, we're 1 minute past 4. We're just going to take a break for a couple of hours, then we'll all be back again for Monday Makers, when we're going to have a look at some really good products, some really good deals, and we've got a Monday Mega Deal as well. So that's going to be 6 o'clock here in the UK, 1 p.m. Eastern Time or 10 a.m. Pacific Time. What Corrine was using, what she was showing, you will find across on our website, crafterscompanion.co.uk.com or .eu. Rightio, go and grab your lunch, your breakfast, your tea, your supper, your cuppy, your coffee, your wine, whatever it is. We're still in New Year mode. Get a little beverage and we'll see you back here later on for Monday Makers. We'll see you then. Bye.